Okay, so we're back with Welcome to Derry, episode 2. This one is called Things Done in the Dark. And with this episode, we follow up with the pretty much the fallout on now there have been 4 kids gone missing, and now they know that there's 3 of them who are dead for sure, who's Phil, Theo, and Susie. And so now we are at the juxtaposition of now it's not presented that these 2 girls are versus each other, but now we have Ronnie, the only 2 survivors, Ronnie and Lily. And we are going to see how these two little girls are going to have like their fears, their insecurities, and just their like the fact of their unknown is going to be used against them, and it's going to be used to pit them against each other. So far, well, I would say. And we also get the new character of Will. He's the young son of I can't remember Will's daddy's name for some reason, but I think he's a sergeant or whatever. We first see him in episode 1. I didn't mention that, but we first see him in episode 1 when he is pretty much stationed back. He comes back home. Him and his I would say him and his comrade who have made it back from Korea. Um, so we get Will and his mama Charlotte, who played by Taylor Page. We get those new characters. I forgot also Lily's friend name is Marge. Marge. I'm assuming probably short for Margaret, but her name is Marge. So we get to the point where the town, more so law enforcement, is now overwhelmed with not only has there been one child that has went missing, nobody knows what happened. Now there are 4 children that have essentially went missing, and 3 of them we pretty much know what happened to them. They don't have any bodies, but they found all of that blood, and I'm pretty sure that blood is very indicative of these children did not survive. Mind you, there was no adults there. There were just these children. So they know that it wasn't Ronnie or Lily who killed Phil, Susie, and Theo. Because these little girls could not have possibly done it together, and they dang sure couldn't have done it individually. There was an adult. Now they know Ronnie's daddy technically was not there, but they need to have someone to pin it on. And this is where they're going to use Lily, or they do end up using Lily because she tells them that, can't remember Ronnie's daddy's name, but Mr. So and so wasn't there. And she was like, I didn't see him. I know that I didn't see him. And so they trick her by asking her, well, can you 100% positively say that you are for certain that he wasn't there? She can't say that. Whether if she saw him or not, and they know that she can't say that. And they know also with her history of being at Juniper Hill, a mental hospital, like they use this against this little girl, and it's just so sad. It's actually disgusting to watch that they are going to use her, pretty much her mental health breakdown in response to her father's gruesome death against her. Like, I don't know any child that would not be traumatized and knowing that their daddy got cut up into pieces. And then they also feel responsible for it because I think they were something about her daddy being at work, and she had a little ring or whatever, and he went to go back to get it or something. And they had called him thinking that there was some type of issue that needed help, and when he went in the gears to fix it, they had accidentally stopped the gears at the wrong location, so the gears kept going. And she feels as if they weren't even there from the beginning, her dad wouldn't have been called back, her dad wouldn't have died, he would have still been here. And they are literally using that against that little girl. And they want her to say it was him because they want to be able to have this open and closed case. Ronnie is extremely upset about this because what we find out is that Ronnie already lost her mother, and she lost her mother in childbirth. And that comes to her in this dreamlike instance where she's laying in her bed and her bed becomes her mama's womb and she's trying to fight to get out. And she eventually gets out, but then it's like her bed becomes her mama's carcass after giving birth. Like she's laying there dead and she's like, you ripped me apart, Ronnie. And she said, all I wanted was to hold my baby. You ripped me apart. And she said, it's because of you I'm dead, and now your daddy gonna fry. And it's alluded to that her father is going to be the one that's going to pretty much be the one that fall on the sword for these kids' death, even though they know they have no evidence on proving that it was him or anybody. They have nothing, but they have to put it on somebody. And Ronnie feels responsible because if it weren't for her and letting the kids into the movie theater, then those kids wouldn't have got. And if they wouldn't have disappeared, her daddy would still be here with her. And so we end up seeing that between Lily and Ronnie, we see that these two young girls almost probably gonna end up trauma bonding with this extreme traumatic event, and the isms of racism and classism also is going to be used to like rip them apart when they more than likely would need to be together to get through this process. They would need the right support, but this is also 1962 where children were to be seen, not heard, even though we still struggle with that now. So they know, and they know even in this system, even though whiteness is used against white women in their relationship with white men, when they are in spaces with especially black women or anyone that's not white, then they're able to use that whiteness as a weapon. And I'm not necessarily saying that that's what Lily did, because she didn't, but they know that that's how that they can use it, and they can it's like they're using racism to discredit Ronnie, but then they're going to use sexism to discredit Lily. They're going to make her seem like, oh, she's just this young girl who's insane. She needs to be sent away. And we end up seeing that at the end of the episode, because after everything that's going on, Lily, her mama sends her to the store. And mind you, Lily's daddy got cut up in that factory, and it was a pickle jar or a pickle factory. So she's on the aisle of pickles, and in her mind, it makes her feel as if she's in this maze where now all of a sudden she can't get out. She is stuck in between all of these pickle jars. And then she sees parts of her daddy, and it's like it comes out as this slob, almost like an octopus moving across the floor, and it's like, give daddy a kiss. And it's like, it almost has like a weird, like almost like incestuous undertone to it. It's like, give daddy a kiss. And it's like, ugh. And she's screaming like she threw the jar of pickles down. She's screaming like there's little tentacles coming around her neck, and she's just screaming. And then she comes to where she hears the supermarket manager. He's like, Lily Bainbridge, what the hell is wrong with you? And she opens her eyes and realizes it was all in her head. Just like with Ronnie before they took her daddy away, when she had that when she literally ripped out of her mama's womb, and the bed becomes her mama, and it's like coming after her in the bedroom, and she starts screaming. Her daddy and her grandma run in there to go get her, like to see what's wrong, and she's holding on to her daddy, and she comes to and realize there's nothing wrong with your bed. And I you could just see how the breakdown of these young women, these young girls' psyche, it's like it's going to uncover more truths, but truths that aren't tangible. So because they're not tangible, they are regarded as lies or regarded as, fantasies. And when I say truths, I think things that just, and maybe not even truths, just some deep subconscious that's going on. And this is like, before this happened, I told you I'm gonna be a little bit all over the place. Sorry about that. Lily and Lily and Lily and Ronnie kind of have an outburst at their school at lunch, because she's like, what are you going to tell them? You're going to tell them that my daddy wasn't there, right? And she's like, yeah, I told them I didn't see them. And she's like, no, you need to tell. She was like, that sounds a little bit like I'm not for sure. Ronnie's like, no, girl, you need to be for sure and say it was not my daddy, because if you give them any type of leeway, they're going to run with it and try to put it on my daddy. And she was like, that's bullshit. Like, girl, tell it how it is. Then Ronnie gets sent to detention, where she meets Will. And Will turns out to be Will is the new little boy. He's little black boy. He's Charlotte. Damn, I cannot remember his daddy's name, but he's the sergeant's son as well. And you can tell that he's really into space, like things in the sky, probably possibly astronomy and things like that. And so his daddy gets him a telescope. And Will is new to the school. His first day there, he was late to class because he couldn't find the classroom. And his teacher is an older white woman, and you could tell she's one of those teachers that, especially considering that time, don't have no real power. So the only time that they can exact power is on young children. And she's gonna make it even more hard for Will because he's a little black boy. And in these spaces, I think we'll also see how visceral um white women can be. Like, even though we'll say that white men are the creators of patriarchy and racism, white women enforce it. And a lot of times they are the ones who are exacting that enforcement, especially in settings like education and health, things that are being relegated to women. That's where they can come in and be as spiteful as they can to feel as if they have some type of dominance. Now, back to Will's daddy. Will's back, pretty much back on the Air Force. Some shit is going down. Will's daddy has been, it seems to be specifically selected because of his skill and how he was able to get out of Korea in the way that he was. I can't remember everything. But they pretty much want this man because they know that he's fearless. Like, he's been known to be the one that'll go in and get it done. And they're like, this experiment that they're doing, well, this thing that they have I guess interacted with, they were kind of like, they need to find someone who can, I guess, interact with this thing, who can withstand fear, even fear that'll kill you because it's so strong. And then there's another black man who, it's almost, he almost gives, like, he's supposed to play the role as the good Negro slash like Uncle Tom, like kind of the one who will play the fence. I wanna be a part of my people, but at the same time I wanna perform for these other people so I can get my privileges. And so he is considered to have special privileges or whatever, to because he seems to have no these special, I don't know, special facts on how to uncover whatever it is that they're looking for, like this big secret thing. And you can tell it's this white man that's on there, and he want to throw his weight around. He's like, we've been out here digging for 4 months. If we don't find it, I'm gonna make sure them special privileges get revoked because you seem to be enjoying those too much. Um, Either way, they do end up finding something, and they find a car that they pull up, and the car doors open, and then we see these carcasses, like these old corpse fall out. And I think that's indicative to let us know that this car is supposed to be possibly the car with the family that Marty, not Marty, but Maddie had got into, which would make sense. As to tie it back to episode one. Also at school, Lily, I'm all over the place now, but to stay on topic with the Air Force base, that's when Will's daddy, like all of them are there to see this car be uncovered, and then we see like these corpses like fall out, dangling out, and everybody's like, "Wow, what the fuck was that?" But Will, his mama Charlotte, we can tell that she's one of those black women that and I love that she is this character. You can tell she's not going to be one of those women and just lay down and take it. She's not going to like mute her blackness amongst all of these white people to not make them feel uncomfortable. She she like goes out in public, she speaks to people, like she makes sure it's known that I'm in the room just like you're in the room in a very confident way. So much so that she saw these white kids outside acting a fool, jumping this one little boy, and she walked up to them and told them to stop. Mind you, everyone else walking around the town was just letting it happen, talking about boys will be boys. And everyone looked at her like she was wrong for stopping them from jumping on that boy. And they run off and they keep doing it. And so you can just kind of tell that she's going to also be made to feel alone and isolated in her experiences and things that she's probably going to endure. So it would make her even more of a vulnerable character, especially vulnerable as a woman and a black woman, trying to probably vocalize what she's seeing, what she's experiencing. And because we already see her like already on her own, even when she goes home and she's talking about it, her husband is like, "Baby, did you have to walk up and say something? Did you?" And kind of like that's what kind of happened why we had to leave the old town. Like it's almost even insinuated that they had to leave the old town that they were at, almost like you got too big for your britches and forgot you was a black woman and you should have just kept your head low and kept your mouth shut. Even her son was like, cause she asked Will, she was like, anybody bullying you? And he was like, Mama, don't embarrass me this first week, don't do this to me, like don't even come up to my school doing this. And he got in detention because another little boy had put a stink bomb during the hallway, and he was sitting there eating his lunch, and he went to go run to get away from it. And who did he run into? The teacher from before, who gave him sass about him coming to class late, and she was like, "You again." So that. And am I missing anything? We do see Marge, Lily's one friend, who I, Lily kind of has this reputation for being crazy. And so Marge wants to fit in with the in crowd, but I think she also doesn't want to let go of Lily because I think she knows deep down Lily is her only friend. But she's like, you're making it hard to be your friend. I can't get in with the patty cakes with you acting crazy. And so, speaking of acting crazy, Lily gets sent back to Juniper Hill because of her episode in the store. Her mama, to me, especially, I think her mama is going through a difficult time, especially during this period. It's 1962. So women who did not have a husband, I'm pretty sure, struggled very hard. And being that she lost her husband in such a tragic way, and then her one and only child is like having mental issues because of it, she's probably kind of, people are whispering about her in that town. She probably now has to work in probably ways that she's never had to do before because she has to now be the breadwinner now that she doesn't have a husband. And so I think it's just easier, it's more convenient, and you have to be mindful this is a different time. So where we are with understanding mental health, nowhere near that back then. And so she's like, you're gonna go back to Juniper Hill. And that is what Lily is so scared of throughout episode 1 and episode 2. She's scared of going back to this mental hospital. And that's what she's telling Ronnie. She's like, I'm doing everything that I can. I told them what I could. And she was like, you don't understand. They threatened me to go back to that place. She was like, you don't understand what I went through in that place. I don't ever want to go back. And they know that. And they have used that against that girl only to still send her back. I'm trying to see if I'm missing something from episode 2. But episode 2 is still, the show is still really good. Like it's making, and the good thing about these episodes is that it does make you want to rewatch it again, especially from a review standpoint, because it's like, you thinking, I know I missed something, or I know I didn't catch it the first time. But if you did watch episode 2 and you have any feedback, or if you like the review or something I missed or I didn't talk about, let me know in the comments. And we'll see you next time. I'll be back for episode 3 of Welcome to Derry.